You ever notice how some people seem completely at peace while your brain never shuts up? They're just there, present, calm. Meanwhile, you're mentally replaying yesterday's conversation, planning tomorrow's to-do list, and solving problems that don't even exist yet, all at the same time. It's like your mind decided silence is the enemy and thinking nonstop is the only way to survive. But here's what nobody tells you. That constant mental noise isn't making you smarter or more productive. It's actually blocking you from the clarity you're desperately searching for. Because real intelligence, the kind that actually changes your life, doesn't come from thinking harder. It comes from finally being still enough to hear what's underneath all that noise. And if you're exhausted from living entirely in your head, you're about to discover why your mind was never meant to run 24/7. Here's what's actually happening when you can't stop thinking. Your brain isn't solving problems, it's looping. It's replaying the same worries, rehearsing conversations that will never happen, and creating stress about situations that don't even exist yet. Think about it. When was the last time you had a genuine breakthrough while you were desperately overthinking something? Probably never. Your best ideas came in the shower, on a walk, right before sleep. Moments when you finally stopped trying so hard to figure everything out. That's because your mind is like a snow globe. Shake it constantly and you'll never see clearly. But let it settle for just a moment, and suddenly everything becomes obvious. You've been conditioned to believe that constant thinking equals productivity, that if your mind isn't racing, you must be falling behind. But that's the trap, because constant thought isn't the same as awareness. Most of the time, you're not even thinking about anything useful. You're just recycling old fears, replaying past situations, arguing with people who aren't even there. Your brain treats every thought like it's urgent. That random worry that popped up while you were making coffee, your nervous system responds like it's a real threat. That imaginary argument you're having in your head, your body doesn't know it's not actually happening. You're living in a mental simulation, and your entire system is exhausted from it. The people who seem unshakable aren't thinking less because they're less intelligent. They've just learned something crucial. Thinking is a tool, not a lifestyle. And like any tool, if you're using it constantly, eventually you're just going to hurt yourself. Here's the part that changes everything. Underneath all that mental noise is a deeper intelligence. The kind that doesn't need to analyze every situation to know what feels right. The kind that doesn't need a pro-con list to make a decision. The kind that's been trying to reach you this whole time, but your thoughts are too loud for you to hear it. So how do you actually stop the mental marathon? It starts with understanding one thing. You don't have to engage with every thought that shows up. Most people treat thoughts like notifications that need immediate attention. A worry pops up, better analyze it for the next hour. A random negative thought, time to spiral. But here's the truth. Most thoughts don't deserve your attention at all. Try this right now. Notice whatever thought is in your head right this second. Now just let it be there without doing anything about it. Don't follow it. Don't argue with it. Don't try to fix it. Just observe it like you'd observe a cloud passing by. That's it. That's the practice. Just noticing that thoughts exist without automatically climbing inside them. Here's what starts to happen when you do this. You realize most thoughts are just noise. They're old patterns, recycled fears, mental habits that got too strong from overuse. They come dressed up like urgent problems, but really they're just echoes of stuff you've already dealt with 10 times before. The next shift is even simpler. Let silence exist. When there's a quiet moment, your first instinct is probably to fill it. Check your phone, turn on music, start planning something. But what if you just didn't? What if you let the silence be there for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, a whole minute? Not because you're trying to meditate or achieve some enlightened state, just because silence is actually where clarity lives. And you've been avoiding it your entire life because it feels uncomfortable at first. And stop narrating your life. You don't need your mind to constantly explain, label, and judge every single moment. You're eating breakfast. You don't need commentary about whether you're doing it right. You're walking down the street. You don't need an internal dialogue about what you should be doing instead. There's a massive difference between being in the moment and being in your head about the moment. One feels like breathing. The other feels like surveillance. Let's talk about what this actually looks like when you're living your real life, not just thinking about it in theory. You're at work and something stressful happens. Old you would have immediately started the mental spiral, analyzing what went wrong, replaying what you should have said, worrying about what this means for your future. But now, you pause. You notice the thought starting, and instead of climbing on board, you just let it pass. The situation still happened, but you're not creating a second layer of suffering by mentally reliving it for the next 3 hours. You're lying in bed and your mind starts racing about tomorrow. All the things you need to do, all the ways things could go wrong. Old you would have spent an hour in that mental maze, getting more anxious with each thought. But now you catch it. You notice your mind is trying to solve tomorrow's problems at 11 p.m. when you can't do anything about them anyway. So you let the thoughts be there without feeding them, and something wild happens. They start to quiet down on their own. You're having a conversation and there's a moment of silence. Old you would have rushed to fill it, uncomfortable with the pause. But now you realize silence isn't awkward, it's just space. And in that space, something deeper can actually be communicated. Here's what I've noticed in my own life. The moments that used to send me into mental overdrive now just don't. Not because I'm suppressing anything, but because I've stopped treating every thought like it's a crisis that needs immediate attention. Someone says something that could be taken as criticism. Old interpretation. Spend the next day analyzing what they meant and defending myself internally. New reality. Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they didn't mean it that way. Or maybe they did, and it still doesn't need to control my entire mental state. The shift isn't about becoming blank or emotionless. It's about becoming accurate. Most of what consumes your mental energy isn't even real. It's stories you're telling yourself about what might happen, what people might think, what could go wrong. So what actually becomes possible when you stop thinking all the time? Imagine waking up and your first experience isn't immediately jumping into your mental to-do list. You're just awake, present, aware. Not because you forced yourself to meditate for an hour, but because you've finally stopped treating constant thinking as mandatory. You move through your day, and situations that used to trigger mental spirals barely register. Not because you've become numb, but because you've learned to observe without absorbing. Someone's in a bad mood, you notice it, but you don't take it on. Something unexpected happens. You respond clearly instead of panicking internally. You make decisions faster because you're not stuck in analysis paralysis. You sleep better because you're not lying there replaying your entire life. You're more present in conversations because you're actually listening instead of mentally preparing your next response. Here's what I've noticed. The less you live in your head, the more you actually experience life. Colors seem brighter. Food tastes better. Conversations feel deeper. Not because anything external changed, but because you're finally here for it. This isn't about reaching some perfect state of mental silence. Some things genuinely deserve your thinking. But you get to choose what those things are. You're not on autopilot anymore, mentally chewing on everything your brain throws at you. You're still on this journey. I am too. There are still moments when my mind takes off without permission. But now I notice it happening, and I can bring myself back. And that's the real transformation, not never thinking, but finally having a choice about when and how you use your mind. I want to know, what thought pattern has been running your life on repeat? Drop it in the comments, not to judge it or fix it, but just to name it. Because the moment you see it clearly, it loses half its power. And someone else reading this might recognize their own pattern in yours. Here's the truth that brings everything together. You were never supposed to think all the time. Your mind is an incredible tool, but it was designed to be used, not to run constantly in the background like a program you can't close. The clarity you're searching for isn't hiding in your next thought. It's waiting underneath all of them, in the stillness you've been too afraid to let in. So the next time silence shows up, don't rush to fill it. Let it stay. Let it remind you what it's like to simply exist without having to explain, analyze, or narrate every single second. Because some of the most important moments in your life will happen when you finally stop thinking your way through them and just let yourself be here. If this resonated, hit subscribe. This is just the beginning.